Hello, everybody. Jason, j.gabriel here. Um, this video I call Fun with Magnets. Matter of fact, we're going to take couple of these neodymium magnets here. These are 3mm by 6mm. Now, just to give you a quick little run through with these, I don't put these in connecting chambers, I put them opposite. Now, to show you from what I learned about these things, we'll go pin 5 and 4 here because this is a 7-pin lock. You see how that right there will not go down, which now when it does, no, that would just shot over there and got on top of that one. I usually try to opposing force. So basically, oh man, and this is the pain with these. Opposing force and not attracting is the game plan. Now we'll go pin 5 and pin 7. Because see, once you get them both in there, they're both level. Now let me take this piece of 2mm by 1mm inner, well, this tubing here, 2mm tubing, and when I push that one down, that one goes down. So if I have this as a short key pin, here, a long one, and so that pushes that up. And if I do some other things, such as, let's say I do a 3-piece key pin where it's got brass here. Now if I use one of these wire nails cut to match a key pin, it will push that up into the shear line and give a false set. So it's I don't know, kind of messing up with the explanation here, but I know neodymium magnets are kind of tricky to mess with because they are very brittle, and exposed to a lot of heat they lose its magnetic flux or its properties. We're just going to kind of go through on how to make a key pin, and I'm not going to lie, you will go through a few of these making these into spools. I've actually messed up a couple of them. It does happen, but it's a learning experience, and there's a learning curve. A lot of this stuff that we find out, we're going to use this key here. We're going to hold that steady and grab this Sharpie. And at this point, we are going to mark right here about where the key pin is going to be cut. And I'll put the cap back on here because I don't want that to dry out. And there should be a good mark all the way around this. So at this point, we'll pretend it's good enough. It ain't all the way around, but once this thing's spinning, you're not going to tell. So we'll pretend that this has already been set to point for a key pin. Now, if I think this thing just jumped around on me, so let me double check. These things are tricky. Like I said, fun with magnets. And that might be, I might need to go this way. Like I said, fun with magnets. And you get it right, you can do all kinds of despicable, evil things. You know what? Let me go ahead and hit that Sharpie again on this other side. I'm not real worried about spinning it. I just want to get it marked close enough, and there is a reason why. When you do work with these, excuse me, when you do work with these, they will chip and they will kind of crumble kind of easily. All right. As long as it didn't jump and get me all messed up. There we go. Now you see I got the mark just outside the chuck. I'm going to go ahead and bring it in a little bit more for you. Readjust. Now what I want to do is bring that mark a little bit past the chuck. And at this point, this is an old one of these. You see the knurling is pretty much gone. Just so I can get a good tighter grip on that magnet. I'm only using one blade on this. I'm not a trained professional, and I'm pretty much a tower climbing moron that does weird things with challenge locks, and this is one of them. So it's about to get a little noisy here, and make sure I got my mark right there. All right, so here we go. I'm not going to put much pressure on this. I'm going to let the blade do its work, and eventually this part's going to snap off. More than likely it's going to attach itself right here to the metal of this knife. You'll probably see some sparks fly. It does happen. It's not going to catch on fire over here anyways. Alright, let's let the madness begin. Just sawing back and forth. Not adding much pressure at all. Letting the rotation of the Dremel cord and the sawing action of the blade do its work. There's some sparking, and guess what? We got a break. Now, go ahead. Right here. Start with this, working it down. Give it a good start. Now you take a t-shirt, a rag, or something like that. Start clearing off your magnetic dust. Now, I don't wear a mask while doing this. Maybe I should. I don't know. But I kind of feel that the magnetic dust is going to be attracted to itself instead of flying through the air. But, you know, if I breathe in some magnetic dust and I climb a tower and give a leg a hug, who knows? I might be stuck there like Spider-Man. Alright. Now we're going to turn this off. And as you see where I did cut it and it snapped off, let me set this right over here with those other ones I got off to the side. Alright. Now, hold this. Get this going a little bit loose. My magnetized tweezers here. And I'll try to get this all loose if it's going to come loose. And keep coming with it. Come on. Come on. There we go. Now, get this where you can see the line. And see right there is the line. And you see it's not chipped because at this point is where I'm going to try to take and file this down. So what I'll do is I'll get this back in there, get it re-chucked up, and I'll proceed to turn this back on, filing and filing and filing, and it takes time. Then what I'll do is release it, and I will come back and I will put it in the chamber that I intended it to go in. As you see, it's number 2 for this case. this is not happening for this lock. This key pin is not going to be a magnetic pin for this lock. I'm just using this to illustrate. And no, I'm not trying to like don't look behind the curtain type of thing. No, I'm being straight up serious with you. What you would want to do at this point, since there's that much sticking out, you can remark it, put it back in there, and try to keep the edge of it inside your chuck where it bites down with the 3 little prongs, and take a little bit more off. And like I said, you can mark it like that, and then once you get it through marking it to where it's got you a good solid black mark to where you can see where your shear line is going to be at, right there. Put this back in, and file it down. I get this back in there just right. Get in there. Bingo. So it's back in there. And like I said, you tighten back up the chuck. Then you just keep filing and checking. And when you get very much close enough, you know, it may almost want to go in with that lip. This is something that you can do. You could take the key completely out, put it in that place, take your key and wiggle it back and forth, just like that. And if it's close enough, it will shear off to the perfect size inside that chamber. You can pull this off, clean it out, then it will work fine, you know. I've had to do that with some of these locks when I was making magnetic pins for them. Now, right here is a finished one that I made just for this illustration. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it back out so you can see it. And like I said, this is not going in this lock. I've just got one of those made strictly for this video. Now I'm going the wrong way with the plug. You see? There we go. And you just keep doing that back and forth, and finally it get rid of that little catch right there. It just takes a little time. Just run it through, twist the key, just keep twisting it, and eventually it will smooth itself out, the neodymium magnet. See, it's all a little bit better now. Just keep doing it. Definitely good that way. Just a little catch that way, going counterclockwise. But that's pretty much how you do that for that. Now, since I'm pretty much done with this, let's see what we can do with this guinea pig here. Take you back out, loosen you up a little bit, and see if we can drag that pin out some. Yep, we got the pin dragged out some right here. We're going to close this up, and we're going to take the vice grips, tighten it up, and we're going to try to kind of spool this out a little bit. And let's see, I think I'm going to use this. Where is that file? Oh man, I hate when I hide stuff from me, and it's usually here in plain sight. So, what is this? Is this a square? No, this is triangular. Hey, this will work. So watch your ears. Here we go. little bit of an indent. Now we're going to go with the square root. You want to go easy, not add much pressure to your file as it spins when doing this. It's a little bit of a process and it takes time. You want to also make sure you're not exactly on the edge. So if something does happen and it does chip, you can salvage it. And just for shits and giggles, I'm going to put some cat lube on here. A little bit for temperature control. And right now it's kind of working on the spool shape. It's a little bit rounded right there. I get my hands to sit still, fighting against the rotation. I'm trying to get to where I can see and not add too much upward pressure so I can work on this and make this happen. Let's see, where's that triangular file? There we go. Go down to this point right here. Kind of tilt the edge up a little bit. Start forming a lip. You'll see sparks. Like I said, it ain't nothing. Just make sure you don't have any flammable liquids with a fast ignition or a low ignition temperature. But yeah, you don't want no gasoline or nothing like that near you. You don't want to be doing this in a closed area. So I'm sitting here, I'm trying to work on the lips of the spool, but along the process it's kind of hard to get it just right. But you got to take your time with it. And it's definitely not as easy as sculpting with brass. So, try to make this a little bit better. This won't be more or less a trampoline spool than anything, starting out with its shape. But these things do take time, and if you want a quick pin for a challenge lock, then this is not the route. But if you want to learn different techniques that can cross over to different types of metal, this is one way to go. I'm not going to deny that this is not easy. Just not easy. I'm not going to say that this is easy, excuse me. It's been probably, I don't know, when I first made a neodymium magnetic spool, but no. And I'm trying to see if I can replicate for this video, just to show that these things can be made. It just takes a little finesse, practice, skill honing, and time. Now, coming out here, get a little serration right here going, and just keep working at it. Eventually, it'll take shape. It just takes time. And where's that square on again? That ain't it. But this is. And a little bit more. Wipe off the files. When the magnetic dust, soak in with the magnet. Put a little bit more lube, in this case is Tap Magic, and go back to working. So at this point, I want to stop it right here so you at least get an idea of what's going on, and we'll bring it right here to it. It's just a process of working on it, going easy, wiping it, cleaning it, and when you get done with this part to the spool, you'll take a file, kind of thin back that lip. You want it to be kind of fat here. Then once you loosen up your chuck, you'll slide it back out. And when you cut, like I did earlier, when I cut this, you'll flip that around, file that end, and there you go. You have a neodymium magnetic spool. You can serrate these, you can taper these, you can taper and serrate. I hadn't tried a tapered serrated spool, but you know, there's some things that's easy for you to do with this than others, but hopefully this helps for those who want to have fun with magnets inside of challenge locks. There's different ways. You don't have to have a magnetic driver with a magnetic pin attracting each other, opposing each other in the same chamber. You could do other things like ferrous metals that you could drag like an inner pin from a pin and pin into the shear line from its magnetic flux without having spring tension from a wafer pushing the inner pin into the shear line. So that way it actually mucks up the jiggle test. And you could do, let's say, a 3-piece key pin where you use a nail, part of a key pin, and maybe some brass tubing to stabilize that nail that you use as a key pin from slipping and going into that warding of the keyway there. And next thing you know, you got a nail of a head and a piece of the other end of the nail right there into the next chamber. So it's always good to use a little bit of brass tubing to maintain that nail in its chamber. Like I said, I hope this helps. This is my video, Fun with Magnets. Hope this gets you started, messing with them a little bit, and be better than I am with these things, and do some amazing things with them like Haribo. All right, everybody, that's it. Take care. I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.